That's not like the whole full. There was a game last night that was insanity. So we're going to get to it right now. It's T-Wolves, it's Thunder. This was a historic comeback. Took overtime to do it. No worries, though. T-Wolves beat the Thunder. Chet didn't play. It's back-to-back. Julius Randle and Gobert did not play for the T-Wolves. Ant had an interesting night. We'll get to that. SGA finished with 39, 10, and 8. But they go 16-0 over the last 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and Ant is on the bench during all of that. That's what sends it into overtime. He didn't start overtime, but he did come in with about 2 minutes left, and he did have the game-winning block. Lou, this was, I mean, the thread was working last night because people were just like, man, if this doesn't work, what happens? Ant's going to be angry. Luckily, it did. So talk to me about the move to put Ant on the bench.
Yeah, just had to add context to what was going on. Sometimes we see our star players and they're on the bench in crunch time, you're trying to figure out why. Sometimes they just don't have it. Ant wasn't having his best night during that game, but your bench was. Your role players were, your young guys. They came in, they gave you energy. They were playing with house money, ended up cutting into the lead. And then once you go into the fourth quarter and you realize, you know what, we might have something here, just let these guys rock out. We'll try it again with our stars on another night. And before you know it, it's a game. You gotta let those guys go. Like, a coach doesn't care who the hot hand is. If he got a hot hand, he got to roll with it. You know, shout out to Shannon Jr. Shout out to my man Alexander Clark. These are young guys that you may not talk about on a nightly basis, but they went out and won that game for the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. So I think Coach Finch did the right thing. Sometimes you got to find energy wherever it comes from. It doesn't matter if it's a guy that makes $200 million or it's a guy that makes $2 million. If he's bringing energy, he's bringing what's needed at that time on a random Monday night in a very, very long season, you got to ride that hot hand out. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, and by the way, the star player, McDaniels played 42 minutes, Naz Reid 40 minutes, Anthony Edwards 35 minutes. So these guys, their players put them in this hole. This was it could look like a ballsy move from Chris Finch because it was, especially not starting Anthony Edwards, and overtime was even next level. But this is a big win, great comeback win. The bench gave everything. The young guys, contributed. But to me, this is huge growth and maturity for Anthony Edwards to go through that, to get benched, to see his guys that don't usually get the opportunity come up big for their team, and then come up in the biggest moment of the game and block the MVP shot at the rim to basically seal the victory for this team. That's the kind of leadership you want to see from Anthony Edwards. You know how talented he is. You know most nights are going to be his night offensively. This wasn't his, but he still stepped up and made a huge effort play to kind of win this game for them.
And think about how much trust that these guys have earned now with their coaching staff. Now he knows I can go down in my bench and I can find some guys that want to be dogs, that want to go out there and compete at a high level and give themselves a chance to win a game. Like Dillingham, he didn't score a bunch of points like he's been touted to do, but he was out there contributing, he was assisting, putting guys in the right spot. Like, they had the right thing. So now if you're Finch, you can look down there and give a guy an opportunity in a playoff game that might not have got it. Them guys went out and earned their minutes last night.
And that's exactly how you do it as a young guy. These are the moments that help you earn your years in the league. Staying ready, being ready when your name is called upon, winning games like this. And shout out to Finch for making a very, very gutsy move.
Yeah.
Like, that's real coaching. Let's find a solution outside of my starters, and he did that. Guys stayed ready. They came in with energy. Energy is contagious. Once that second, third group came in, they played with a lot of energy. They played free. They put them back in the game. That energy now transferred to your starters, and they were able to come back and win the game and solidify it. So shout out to the whole team. It was a great move from the coach. It was a great move from the bench. And, shout out to those young guys for being ready. You're earning your stripes in this league.
So, full transparency, most stats for me just go into my eye and I don't care. This one, however, is insane. In the last 20 seasons, teams were 1 and 9,249 when trailing by at least 16 points with 3:45 or less left. That's
ridiculous.
Crazy. The only other one, by the way, was 2020. That's it.
Yeah, by the way, I turned the game off because of that.
It was a 20-point lead.
I didn't know the stats were that crazy, but this game was over. And again, that's just efforts. And the Thunder on the other side, they can't take their foot off the gas like this. You can't have this big of a lead on this team, and allow this. But again, it's a long season, it's growth. But it's more about what Minnesota did and how their guys came up big.
A learning experience. It's also why yesterday we were like, if you're the Thunder and you see the Warriors in the playoffs, these are the types of nights where you're like, that's not a great call for you guys. Finch, after this one, was asked a little bit about what it's like playing the Thunder, what's difficult about it. Here he is.
It's so frustrating to play this team because they foul a ton. They really do. They foul all the time. And then, you can't really touch Shea. And it's a very frustrating thing, and it takes a lot of mental toughness to try to play through it.
I'm sorry, Coach Finch, but yes, Shea was with me early on, and we did teach him how to draw fouls, and he's a master at it. So you should be frustrated with this, but he uses his ability to score, to get to the rim, to get to his mid-range, and he catches guys slipping. Like, it's a game within the game. He wouldn't complain like this if he had Shea as one of his guys. He wouldn't complain. It's a game inside of the game. If you can get an easy 6 to 10 points a game on the free throw line and you know how to do it, by all means, use that to your advantage. So,
by the way, Minnesota had more free throws last night.
And not to mention, Finch came from
terrible
Houston.
timing there,
Yeah,
Coach.
know,
What are we doing?
weirdly.
And Finch came from Houston when he was assistant coach with James Harden.
There
They
it
got
is.
the rule changed. So he's been around this before. He's been around guys
I like
that matter.
the
I'm sure he wasn't mad at
He
you.
wasn't mad then. Don't you dare be mad now.
Do we not love the delivery, though? It's just very sort of. I mean,
Oh,
is
it's
that
incredible.
Is that a fine? Like, is that
Definitely a fine.
how
call.
big a fine?
I don't know if it's a. I
It's
mean,
a
yeah, because you
petty
can't.
foul.
It's
It's a
because
petty
at the end of the day, yeah, he's talking about the referee in a
It's a
negative
petty
way.
foul.
It's going to be a little slap on the wrist, but I think his demeanor and the way he said it is going to help him. I think it's going to help him not be too bad of a
His
fine.
demeanor's good. It's very
Yeah.
not. It's very matter
He
of
didn't
fact.
curse. He didn't. You know, I mean, it wasn't like aggressive, but he got his point across.
I can appreciate a good delivery.
Yeah, it was all about it.
It's all about that, actually.
It's called nice nasty.
It's really good. There's another fun fact in this one. A lot of fun facts today. Thunder have now played 57 games, and they've only had 5 players that have scored 30 or more points against them the entire season. They haven't had someone score 30 or more against them since December 23rd. That's an interesting stat right there, CP. What does that mean for when we move forward?
You know what it
with playoffs?
means? It means as good as SGA is, as good as Jalen Williams is, as good as Chet is, you have to give the flowers to guys like Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, these guys that don't get talked about as much, but are the reason this is the #1 defense in the NBA, and it's because of these guys. And yeah, SGA, he plays D. Jalen Williams, he'll lock in and he'll play defense. So it's contagious when everyone on that end of the floor is locking in and playing as hard as they can because they know there's a pecking order on offense. They know we're going 1, 2, 3, we're going down the order. But defensively, like Lou Dort, he's so valuable for these guys. He can guard 1 through 5. He's strong. He's got great feet. He can allow them to switch everything. So him, Cason Wallace, Caruso, those guys are so valuable, and they're such great pickups for this team. It's already so good offensively.
With Wemby now being out, does Lou Dort slide into that?
The problem is he's a guard.
He has said
Marcus
he
Smart
should.
won one as a
Yeah,
guard.
but I feel like they factor in like block shots and rebounds so much. Like I think Jaren Jackson or Mobley, someone like that, has a better chance of getting
They're
it.
the
because
number one
average
defense, though.
2. I agree, and I think Memphis is 6 and Cleveland 7. So when you reward the best defender on the best team,
I mean, that's how it
Theoretically.
goes sometimes.
we always
You just
talked about this
never know.
earlier. We don't know what they're voting for. What are,
Yeah.
MVP, All-Star defender. What are we voting for? Are we voting individual stats? His one-on-one stats has got to be unbelievable.
Well,
It's
he's
like-
also said Lou Dort's like on the record as saying I should get more respect.
He should.
I agree.
Thing.
I agree with him.
He should.
Absolutely.
But, so I know we're going to get to it 2 questions from now, but we're going to change that up right now since you brought it up anyway. Should there be 2 separate Defensive Players of the Year awards, backcourt, frontcourt, or no? This is it.
Can't.
I'm gonna stay out of the defensive conversation. Y'all had it.
I need to stay out too.
That really wasn't my cup of tea either.
Oh, then great. I'm glad.
But I'll sit in my tower. And No, it's because I think they value block shots. So when you see a guy average 2 blocks a game and a steal and a half, that means more, I guess, than their one-on-one percentage or their field goal percentage against Lou Dort. But I think you have to look at team defense and team success. When Rudy Gobert won those defensive players of the years, is because the Jazz, because the Timberwolves were the best defense in the NBA, right?
Bad example.
Thunder are the best defense in the NBA, probably because of Lou Dort, largely to do with him. Shouldn't that matter in voting?
That was a bad example, but
Why was that a bad example?
just the guy you named. But
Oh, Gobert?
yeah,
Gobert?
I'm still baffled by those. But
Save it.
4 of them.
save it. 4 of them.
4 of them.
4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Generational defender.
Hall of Famer, first ballot, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Hey, we're going to a commercial break.
No, we're not. No, we're here for a few more. No, but let me ask you this. There's a nickname for Lou Dort now I guess it's gaining steam with the kids. Star Killer. Do we like it?
I do.
Okay.
You like this?
It's an original.
It definitely
It's
is.
an original. In a game where everybody has a nickname and they usually are recycled and they're not original, this is cool. Star Killer, however, that put a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
you
You
got a
to
target
be a
on your back,
legit
for sure.
star killer now. You can't be a star minimizer.
Wow.
Container.
You can't be a
Oh,
star
Kobe
container.
Stopper, remember the Ruben
Yeah,
Patterson
yeah.
after that?
So when you say you're a star killer, them some heavy boots to carry right there, my dog.
I do like
Star
it.
Killer,
like
the
it,
Great
though.
Barrier
I love
Thief. We got some
That one's
names.
funny, I think. I think that one's like a fun one. It's a lot, but it's fun. Another game last night, Denver, Indiana. Jokic, career high 19.